to as well, and we're going to get Lafon's fantastic takes at the end. Thank you very much for the pregame, sir. As we load in here, the first stage is going to be inside. We're headed to Sanctum. You see an Orisa on the board already, and like you had mentioned, Shift, Nepal, a very good map for T1W.GZA. They're actually going to have High B and Assassin in, playing along with Silver 3. Molaran loses his life very early, but they thrive in this chaos.
Yeah, and it really just comes down to, can you find any early picks if you're looking at this from the perspective of either team, really? And how about this? Night God not going to be sitting on the, well, not going to be at least contesting yet, as it's Molan who's able to find the first blood. There comes Night God, able to take down High B, able to isolate out the Roadhog very nicely. But Assassin, again, he's just dancing off these walls, looking really clean while he does it. Again, that extra Storm Arrow is looking great when it comes to shredding down shields. Roshan gets picked apart, and just like that, it's going to be T1W starting off in their favor.
And this is the scariest part, especially when you are in the mirror matchup. For Light Gaming, it's really hard to retake Sanctum when you're on this Orisa Hog composition, the oinky yoink, the pulled pork, whatever idiom you decide to go with as well. It really comes down to your Pharah. And you see Molaran at 85%, finding so much value. The dogfight going in his favor already.
Yeah, it's looking really, really clean for the damage, just specifically speaking for T1W. And once again, Molan making work happen. He's got a barrage ready to go, but he doesn't even need to use it. He's just floating right above the opponent's position of Light Gaming, not really able to go anywhere. Dizzy, again, we talked about him being a more recent addition to this lineup, and things are not going in his favor whatsoever. Here's the barrage right in tight corners. That's going to be enough for two. Night God able to take his counterpart down, but the damage has been dealt, and 50% gets surpassed for T1W.
Night God finally getting the elimination onto Molaran. It's going to be resurrected almost immediately. Something you can expect here in this composition is kind of covering the dead bodies. You got to be looking out for the resurrections. You can't allow those things to go unchecked. Sentry already popped the Valkyrie as well, where Illusion, although slow to build theirs, they're about to have both support ultimates online. We're already at 75%. T1W are about to make this last fight territory, and Light Gaming are about to have a cycle of damage ultimates themselves. Dizzy's on the Widowmaker now as well.
As we have the Dragons being run out for Assassin, it just comes down to, can you just zone out the last little bit of progress to keep Light Gaming from finding any capture percentage whatsoever. Roshan pulled back into danger. That'll be enough to take down the main frontliner of Light Gaming, who are now looking very desperate when it comes to trying to even touch the point, let alone find any capture percentage. Illusion with the Battle Mercy, thank you very much. 100% Swine coming out for High B just to zone everybody away, and that's a clean 100-0 for T1W.GZA.
Light Gaming only used 3 ultimates, Alan. 3 ultimates were used for Light Gaming through that 100-0. And didn't look comfortable. I had already mentioned how difficult it could be, especially re-entering yourself on that composition, especially for the mirror, which is why you see Dizzy onto the Widowmaker. More of a comfort pick at more than anything at this point. But what you're getting to see is a spectacle of what the 2-2-2 lock is about to look like. Let's not forget, heading into playoffs, all of Contenders will be on a 2-2-2 lock, just like Overwatch League, like you saw last night, and we'll be seeing throughout Stage 4. And that's more of a spectacle than anything. You get to see a lot of high impactful damage dealers. You get to see tank combinations like never before in the Orisa Hog. But now on T1W, as we load into Village, they're going to go with a little bit more of a style that pick, a little bit more of that frustration style for both teams as well. Triple DPS, Assassin versus Dizzy with the Widowmaker duel, Molaran versus Night God in the sky with Illusion and Sentry helping each other out respectively. It's all about first pick priority here.
And it really comes down to, as a Pharah player, when do you decide to go for the air versus air battle versus going for more of those front lines, or maybe even a free Mercy? Sentry has got nowhere to go. Well, this is not an in-flight that supports a movie, let alone any kind of in-flight service, because that was an easy takedown for the side of T1W. And once again, they're able to start the point in their favor without much contest whatsoever from Light Gaming.
Yeah, for sure. And again, Illusion, no pressure, is going to be able to get Assassin as well. And well, this is the scariest part. I mean, you see B612 is closer to the nano boost. Well, that's just because Light Gaming is taking so much more damage. Silver 3 is finding a lot of value, not necessarily getting punished. And this really comes down to Unai as well. It's very an unpopular choice for a Sombra player to be playing in the backline of your team, but you have to wait for the Wrecking Ball player of Silver 3 to be coming in your backline just there, and you have to lock him down. You have the Sleep Dart. There it goes.
Now it just comes down to this little Tracer v Sombra duel. The Sombra saying, I'm not so interested in this. And again, B612 has had to use his own biotic ray just to keep himself alive so many times. This time around, though, he's able to utilize it to make sure the hamster gets locked down. Nice little headshot coming through for Dizzy to find Wuya, and that might be enough for them to find enough of an advantage to not only flip the point, but to find some substantial capture percentage for the first time in this match. Dizzy has to go back for the mini health pack. Eren doing what he can to find damage, but again, without a frontliner, how can you really contest this? EMP comes through for Unite, but is it enough to even win the fight, as everybody from T1W is able to disengage very nicely? And now there's the Valkyrie comes in for T1W. You potentially just come right back over to the point. Eren is having himself quite a buffet here, as he's been able to find himself 3 kills all over the map. Light Gaming should surely start to fall apart here, as they have lost just about everybody crucial to contesting the point, and T1W putting themselves back on the capture point to swing this one back in their favor.
Fly high, friendly skies. Eren is having quite the day. NightGod had enough of that matchup. Sentry and NightGod will swap respectively over to the Lucio and Tracer. And have a pulse bomb on lock as well. Well, with Silver 3 in the backline that slept in that previous engagement, there's not necessarily an anchor or point contention that you can give, so you give it over to Light Gaming and you just win out the fight. And that's really smart, especially with Dizzy being so forward that you just allow Silver 3 to wake up. And you saw how many resources it actually took just to lock down Silver 3. It didn't even get eliminated too.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden the damage dealing power of T1W is zoning everybody from Light Gaming out. Roshan finally decides he wants to play the OBJ, but he gets met with an EMP just as he tries to escape with his life. B612 goes down. Roshan will find a consolation prize in the form of Assassin's Widow, but again, how are you going to contest this point? All of your support line is completely decimated. And that'll be enough for 85%. Roshan diving right back in, but does he even have any healing whatsoever? The answer is absolutely not. Hack comes through on the Night God and will be found by Hybe. That's a double kill for him, and now 95%. We're in last fight territory, and this is going to be staggered for Light Gaming to try to recontest.
Unai is going to be there unstealthing. Eren is having more of a field day. There's Assassin on the point. Wia's going to get the final blow onto Unai, and by the time Light Gaming is all said and tucked away in bed, Sentry has not gotten a single support ultimate off on this stage shift. It is not looking good so far. Assassin coming back onto the Tracer as well for the follow-up damage along with the Sombra. Quite emphatic, might I add.
Panda, I mean, lafon was talking about how this very well should be a T1W favored match, but I don't think any of the three of us were expecting that kind of a start, to where we're just sitting here rolling the dice to see if Light Gaming are going to get any ultimates off at all in their fights.
And no Yahtzees whatsoever. You know, we're sitting here and we're just having such a spectacle of a time too. Even when the control came through, well, again, T1W were very happy to give it up as well, so that way they could win the fight. Silver 3 was taking a very comfortable nap into the backline of Light Gaming, but you know, speaking of lafon, I want to hear those takes as well. I want to see what the analysis is coming through from this match already, and what might that be, my good friend?
I mean, immediately there's 3 things that stand out to me, right? One is ultimate usage, because, or lack thereof, I suppose.
Yeah, right.
Favor. Ooh, that's a rough place to be. But also, I think, you know, we're getting a first look at that 2-2-2, as you mentioned. And it's looking better for T1W than I thought it would. I was concerned, you know, we didn't get a chance to bring it up at the beginning of the show, but I was concerned that they may have been, you know, a little bit out in the cold when it comes to what they were choosing to run, because they have run this triple DPS a ton, but they look pretty strong, I think, on that first stage. And one of the big issues there that's coming from this is that Light Gaming just haven't had any pressure. It's not even a tank fault or a support fault, because oftentimes you can say, oh, one of these has been the reason why you're losing. I just think at the moment, Light Gaming has been outclassed mechanically so far ahead. Like, I think the only close contest was Assassin versus Dizzy. That was really the only role that you could argue that Light Gaming had some level of control over.
I was about to say, I mean, the only light of day on Village for Light Gaming was when Dizzy was controlling the middle, right above the point as well, when he ended up getting that pick onto to Wia, but didn't even matter. You can't contest the Widow and the Ana all at the same time. Gonna get a couple of highlights here as well. You see right off the rip, again, Eren was having a field day like we were talking about here, Alan, and it really was too. And even getting hooked in, it didn't even matter, because Light Gaming could not protect the resurrections that were coming through. Eren had a hell of a first map.
I think the other thing too that I'm noticing is we're seeing actually a little bit here in this highlight pack is that T1W knows when to hit go and they know when to kite. And that's been a big difference between these two teams at this moment. And honestly, the reason why T1W is so far ahead is that even when Light looks like they have an opportunity, it's oftentimes just because T1W is saying, okay, that's cool. We see that we don't have the advantage in this fight. We'll kite back, give you a little bit of space, and then, oh no, we're right back in the fight and you have nowhere to go.
It's like, oh, you don't have ultimates? We have ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I think you hit that really properly, lafon, when it comes to just positioning as a team as a whole. I mean, how many times did we see B6 still have to use the Biotic Grenade just to keep themselves alive? I think we only saw maybe a total of 2 nanos get popped from B612's Biotic Rifle. So a number of just causes for concern to start things off. But as we transition to Paris coming up in the second map, I just want to get you guys' take very quickly before we send to a break as far as what needs to change for Light Gaming to start taking the fight to T1W instead of playing so reactionary.
Tempo. It's all about tempo. Light Gaming needs to play faster. If you can't prevent your mistakes, you just need to force more from the opposing team. And one of the ways you can do that is just by playing a heck of a lot faster. Easier said than done, but for Light Gaming, it's really the only avenue for a win.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Easy enough. Put a period and a stamp on that one. That's map 1 going in favor of T1W, convincingly 2-0 in Nepal. When we come back after the break, we'll be joined on Paris for the assault. Don't go anywhere. Glory, welcome back to Chinese Contenders with Broadcast GG. I hold shift with Andy, Panda, Nekrich coming at you guys. I don't know why I gave you all 3 names. I only did my only one.
Feel very formal in my college shirt.
Yeah, I was about to say that's Dr. Andy, Panda, Nekrich to you. Doctor of all things Overwatch analysis at the moment. I don't know where we're going with this one, but as far as we're going in this set, just go with it. Just go with the flow. Nepal was a pretty easy 2-0 for T1W.GZA. We'll be heading to Paris next to see if Light Gaming, as lafon properly said, could up the tempo and start to put a little bit of gas in the engine here, because honestly, it's been looking a little bit stalled out.
A little stalled out, and again, I want to highlight one point, especially on Village, speaking of points. One part that when Silver 3 was getting locked down in the backline, again, didn't even get eliminated, but you saw how many resources it actually took. It literally took 3 members just to lock down Silver 3 on the Wrecking Ball for such a long time. The Sleep Dart, the Biotic Grenade, and it also had Sentry there on the Lucio to boop him back. And it just wasn't enough. You need something more. And to go back to lafon's point on hitting the gas, you have to push it through the floor and actually grind it against the pavement. If you are Light Gaming, you can't allow T1W to play their tempo, which we know is very hyper aggressive, and you can't allow them to find as much value. And when they did end up finding a little bit of frontline pressure, well, that was just Dizzy. Again, playing above the point, found a pick, couldn't control the resurrection as well because they were taking a heck load of damage as well. Found a great headshot onto Weah, but as we load into Paris, things might be able to go into Light Gaming's favor a little bit more of a slow-paced style, depending on their attack or defensive favor. And that's what I expect to see as well. It's going to be T1W on defense first versus Light Gaming as they go on into attack. Their hold-hook combos were a little bit lackluster, but again, it's all because they were afraid to hit the go button. And that's what it really comes down to. Light Gaming with Dizzy on the Widowmaker to find this pressure in the sky against Molarun and Assassin in the back. That's what you need. That's what you need, Night God.
And now you've got numbers, so you need to get right on forward and get this damage into some more valuable targets. Orisa just takes an absolute flight for a second there from Silver 3. Illusion, though, is able to get Assassin back into the mix. So now all of a sudden, do you still commit to this if you're Light Gaming? You'd think the answer should be yes, but you can see the line of sight that Molarun has is just getting so much free damage into the front line, and that'll be Unite. Falls very quickly, and just like that, T1W are able to bounce back, stabilize, and find themselves both main frontliners, and Light Gaming are left reeling.
I mean, again, like, the B612 is going to have this nano boost before Weah, but you also have to look at damage as well. I mean, look how much value is being found from Molarun. The barrage already, within a minute's worth of game time, Alan, this is very devastating to see. No one was looking at Molarun on that off angle. You have double sniper. You also have the halt and hook combo. You can't allow Afara just to exist above that balcony next to the point for that long. You have to pressure out Molarun, and that's going to allow Illusion to have this Valkyrie as well as Sentry going into this next fight. There goes Night God getting the first pick again. Can you cover the res? Great hook.
That'll play absolutely brilliantly. Has to back up. No healing allowed with Biotic Grenade able to come through, but big numbers for Light Gaming. You have to get onto this point and start making some serious pressure turn into actual capture percentage. Looks like finally they'll be able to do that. Really nowhere to go for the Orisa, so Silver 3 will drop. Nice shots continuing to come back from Night God. Another nice pull as well. Unite really starting to warm up with this hook as he's able to come together with a couple of clutch hits, and that'll be enough for Light Gaming to finally take point A.
Again, off of a good couple picks. They have to use both the Dragon Strike and the Valkyrie as well. It's going to be very hard to attack this point, especially going into the support ultimates and the Supercharger from T1W High B. over to the Roadhog. Will not have the whole hog ultimate as well. Molaran halfway to another barrage. 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the board here. Light Gaming will have a feat ahead of them as well. All hook combo is going to come through. Good dash away from Assassin as well. And, well, Alan, let's go back to the pack, to the big poke phase as well. And, well, that'll favor the defending team.
A little bit of an unfortunate game of tag there as both teams are just trading back and forth between... Oh, another big pull, but nano boosted, and this is just Unai say, you want to pull me in? You're going to get all of the hog, brother, and he's able to find 2, at least to be able to get the supercharger plus the initial carrier of said ultimate in the form of the Arista of Silver 3. So now Dizzy, 3 line of sight, not having to worry about any frontliners really to deal with. Molenran, though, he's got a barrage ready to go. Lets it rip, able to find one, and then immediately turns around to make sure that he's able to zone away anybody else. And that might be the start of a great hold here for T1W. Now Molenran, right on top of the support line, is saying, you guys are going to have to deal with all of these rockets. And they're doing a pretty decent job of staying alive. But again, while this is happening, the Arista and Roshan's taking a nap on points, surrounded by T1W members. And as that halt comes through, that should be the end of the life for B612. It sure will be. And T1W were able to hold off before that first tick of beat comes through.
I mean, sure, Sentry was able to build another Valkyrie, but at the point that you're just overhealing B612 and staggering yourselves continuously, that's... I don't know if that's a play, Chief. Going 420 on the game clock as well for Light Gaming for their next attack. The staggers were relentless. It always seems like Dizzy's on the receiving end of this barrage as well, which is good usage for Molaran on this Pharah, putting a lot of value halfway to another barrage off said staggers. But when you look at these compositions, Alan, you don't have a defensive ultimate. It was a very good use of the nano boost for B612. You save Unai from the halt hook combo into the whole hug, find a lot of value just like that.
Unai.
Great use of the halt hook combo there from Light Gaming.
He's been looking really good here in the later stages of Paris. Dragon Strike right down Main Street, just try to separate some players out, and well, all of that scrap and shrapnel inside of that Roadhog weaponry is looking really solid. A counter Dragon coming through, another pull coming in as Unai able to connect once again. Whole hog for the second time, able to find his counterpart in Hybe, and turns around to get a little bit of damage and knockback onto the players sitting underneath the archways over towards his right. Another nice hook coming through. The coordination has looked so much better for Light Gaming in these couple of last stages than it has in the previous couple of weeks. And that's allowing them to find some significant capture here on B. 1 tick of progress still needs to be finished. Hybe says whole hog time, and he's able to push everybody back to stave off that last tick coming through.
But they got 2 ticks away. And that is very impressive. Like you already mentioned, the pull port combos coming from Roshan and Unai, very, very good, especially comparatively to what we saw them from last week in their 4-0 loss to LGE and Huya. This is what we expected to see. Can Light Gaming adapt to the meta as well? And speaking of adaptation, Nightgod, Dizzy, gonna take a couple swaps. Dizzy over to the McCree. This is the pre-buff McCree. Rate of fire a little bit slower than what you're probably used to on the live server. Nightgod gonna look for picks in the back line. You can't allow Wea to be keeping all feet on the ground for free.
Once again, pulled in a dangerous Hybe, taken down a main target already taken care of. So a 6v5 Nightgod making the swap over to the Doomfist. Another untraditional, but yet has found effectiveness in the pick of this hero. And
here we go.
There you go. Immediately destroys Assassin. So big numbers for Light Gaming. Again, just needing 1 tick of progress to close things off here on point B. Another last-second halt hook combination. Unai able to now dive back in with what feels like his 20th whole hog this game. Is looking absolutely beautiful, and that will zone everybody away. But Nightgod is the one who reaps the benefits in the kill feed with the double kill that he was able to find. Goodness gracious, we have got ourselves a different look here of Light Gaming just from Nepal to Paris alone.
And a little bit different of a composition swap as well for that last and final tick. I love the adaptation, especially going for that last 33%. You get the McCree, you get the Doomfist, heroes that can win fights without their ultimates, whether it's the coming through from the Deadeye or you're looking for the Meteor Strike. You can find so much value in those heroes, even from the halt hook combos. As long as Nightgod finds 1 or 2, which, well, he found 4 in that last fight for final blows. You got to expect that things are going to be coming through. And again, I want to highlight just how much better Roshan and Unai look on their halt hook combos, especially coming off of last week's loss. And this is what you expect from veteran players, especially from Roshan, B612. 2 players that were formerly playing for Shanghai Dragons in the Overwatch League. You finally get to see why. Veteran players of the region being able to show their grit in here in Chinese contenders, especially against a strong team like T1W.
Well, let's get a quick take from lafon really quickly before we switch the sides as far as what he thinks has been going right for the side of Light Gaming so far.
I think one of the interesting things is how little Light Gaming has, how little care they have for both their front and back line. A lot of the times, the reason why those fights took so long is that Light Gaming would win, the early pickoff and would still get, but would still lose the fight because they lost 2 or 3 players. So that last fight where they're able to stay alive throughout the remainder of the fight, that's what got them the round completion.
Take there from lafon as we jump right back in. Thank you so much, my man. We'll see you at the end of the map, of course, to get more full compositional breakdown as far as what's been going on. But we'll see what happens as T1W comes right back out of an offense of their own. We're still looking at a double sniper setup, though, here, Panda, for Light Gaming.
And again, I think one of the biggest stalwarts here for Light Gaming is just the DPS to it. Dizzy and NightGod have been very impressive right next to the Hulk hook combos. It allows B612 to not take as much pressure. With T1W on their attack, one thing that we have to definitely note, where's Micha? Micha's not in here, but Hybe on the Sombra finds the opening pick. Can you confirm the resurrection? You cannot allow Sentry to resurrect Dizzy. This is going to be devastating if they can.
And Silver 3 is doing such a great job of just making sure he's moving from front line to back line, back to the front
what a
line,
nuisance.
back to the back line. And how do you even deal with this wrecking ball? He's creating absolute havoc. Well, you put him to sleep, but the damage hasn't already been dealt. The answer seems to be yes, as Molinran is already 70% of the way to a barrage. I don't even think he's going to need it here, especially if they can take care of this Orisa at raw value, which maybe they're not able to do. So all of a sudden, maybe it becomes more doable to hit this barrage to zone out the last bit of this progress on point, as there's already 1 tick already into A, looking for the second. Barrage ready to go, although getting pulled.
Oh, no!
Gets knocked off the map. Nice little play at the grapple for Silver 3 and the midair for Molinran. That'll be enough to secure things likely for the side of T1W as they're finishing off their 3rd tick. Unai will give a courteous contest, and that'll be point A already completed with 6.5 minutes essentially to go.
And this isn't the new assault map. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you don't come back from spawn faster on this assault style. You still have 6 minutes on the board for T1W, and they have ultimates. The big wombo combo of the Sentry. They're going to have the EMP on top of Molinran's Fair Barrage, and this is going to be devastating for Light Gaming to try to deal with. And the Nano Boost? My God, give him everything.
And he doesn't even need to use the barrage, says let's just use the tools needed for the job, and they get the job done to take care of the front line. So now just Light Gaming. How do you even contest this? Now comes the barrage. He's able to at least assist for one. Unai pulling him down from the sky. Dizzy has been looking very uncomfortable, switching between the Widow and now the McCree. And, well, maybe he finds a little more success with the McCree as he lands a couple of shots, but Silver 3 shuts him down. The whole hog also gets punished. And just like that, 2 ticks of progress in. The minefield gets placed, hacked. Goes Roshan, which how do you navigate through that minefield? The answer is you get pushed through it, but looks like the respawns are good enough for the support line to keep Roshan alive, and Light Gaming will sustain for now.
Because of spawns alone, and, well, good work from Roshan and Unai there. The tank line putting in a lot of work. Dizzy is about to have the Dead Isle, as well as NightGod will have the Dragon Strike. Probably going to see Roshan go back over to the Orisa to complete the Hall Hook combo. There it goes. When T1W Silver 3 is able to have a field day, the one thing that you see in the difference of these compositions, Alan, well, there's no Sombra on the board for Light Gaming. And because of the flashbang and the sleep dart only lasts for so long rather than the hack, really hard to lock him down.
Well, Hybe gets the EMP off for 4 players, but unfortunately one of his damage dealers gets absolutely destroyed by NightGod to open things up. So a little bit of an even battle coming through, even though Roshan's taking it up. The damage dealers of Light Gaming are really starting to show up. One more for NightGod as he finds 2 headshots, looking for making this a 3-piece, but it's Dizzy who gets the benefit there. But once again, Light Gaming are able to sustain, even though the front line really wasn't there to receive it.
Able to stall off 2 minutes and counting here against T1W.GZA. They're going to take swaps across the board. See Molinran going over to Overwatch's favorite hero, the Brigitte. But a Reinhardt and D.Va composition. There it goes. Okay, I was waiting for Assassin to see if we were going to see the full swap going over. They're very hard to exist on any point whatsoever without those projected barriers from the Zarya. Full 3-3 on the board for T1W. Still on the previous patch as well before the 2-2-2 lock, so expect to see some 3-3. Teams will still end up playing it. It's still a good composition, contrary to popular belief. Unai now on the Sombra. Able to find that hack, but there's not that much follow-up. It's all about just gaining that EMP. Dizzy does have the Deadeye as well.
This is a pretty big risk, you would think, for T1W, thinking that, hey, this damage-dealing composition that we're running isn't really getting the job fully done. Let's try to go something a little bit safer. But it's going to take a while for the full force of this 3-3 to get online because they really do rely on ultimates. Night God switches over to the Doomfist. He's already making his presence felt. Assassin trying to get away will just be absolutely pulverized by that right fist of Night God. And that'll be enough for the damage-dealing combination of Dizzy and Unite to clean the rest of the pieces up. 3:20 on the clock for this last tick of progress needed for T1W.
I like this mentality from Night God in Light Gaming. They're basically saying, come at me, bro. Like, they're going to a triple DPS defensive composition where you would expect it to see from T1W, but again, there's no media in sight. And this is one thing that I highlighted. T1W were very adamant about trying to find continuous value in their DPS compositions on attack. On Volskaya Industries last week, they go over to 3-3, so they're going to be playing for the ultimate economy, but we're down to 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Light Gaming is going to have an EMP here, Alan. Dizzy's about to have another Deadeye and the Minefield. Look at all the ultimates that are about to be online for Light Gaming. It's going to be very hard to break through T1W.
Well, a big test here for Light Gaming. Do you use the tools needed, or do you use too much? There's the EMP, finds 5. Assassin, the only one to not be mitigated by that hack. And now all of a sudden, it will be a Meteor Strike as well, right into the support line, but Night God gets stunned as soon as he lands. So an opportunity really for T1W to start potentially fighting this back. They do have a boost if they want to use it from Ouya, who does get a cleanse from a nice little bubble from Assassin to get that biotic grenade effect off of him. So now it just comes down to, do you potentially just commit to this if you're T1W? You're really close to a Graviton Surge, and you have a couple other ultimates that you can combine with it, but Sentry able to get the res off into B612, brings back Light Gaming at full force, and T1W does soft disengage.
But yeah, they use the Meteor Strike and the EMP, but Unite's halfway to another one too, and this is gonna be really difficult. T1W Silver 3 has had a hard enough time keeping their feet on the ground. Assassin's gonna have the Graviton Surge. You can go for the big Wombo combo, especially as this is the last tick fight. But you look at the time as well, there's no way that T1W obviously can get time bank now. It's just about completing the point.
Oh, big Minefield comes to the Graviton Surge. Doesn't find much value. So big question marks, high noon. Dizzy just using it to zone away from anyone touching the point. Minute 30 left to play, and one of the biggest team fight winning ultimates for T1W in the bank has been spent, and that's going to get taxed up as a 6-man EMP comes through. Every single player hacked, and well, that kill feed starts to light up bright white as Light Gaming will pick apart everybody. And man, I'll tell you, Panda, I'm just going to go ahead and queue up LaFon for this early question. Is this swap to the 3-3 really necessary? Because they just used everything that they built up over the last 2 minutes and found absolutely nothing.
What the heck was that Graviton Surge? Hello?
I don't know. I was trying to search for it. It must've just landed at his feet. I mean, I guess maybe to find Roshan, but
yeah, I was about to say trying to lock down Roshan, but at the end he didn't have enough follow-up there as well. Again, T1W can't keep their feet on the ground. We are at 40 seconds, last fight territory for Light Gaming to put the final nail in the coffin. T1W looks so bad on Assault, and this is going to be their stalwart. Can Light Gaming do enough in this final moment with the Deadeye, the Valkyrie? They have almost every single ultimate online. In T1W, they are nowhere to be found on this last take. 20 seconds and counting.
Well, Silver 3 again. He should be able to find this Earth Shatter for what should be free. There's no shielding in front of him. He is able to hit it, but he only finds B612, and well, the damage has already been dealt as Night God is freely reigning in the back line. He's able to find 2. Now he dives on in, saying, I don't care if you've got a hammer. I've got a mechanical fist. And he puts everybody in a corner. You don't put baby in a corner, says Night God, and he's going to clean everything up. And T1W will essentially be given absolutely nothing, as they had a very early 2 ticks of progress, 6.5 minutes of time bank, and they can't even close out Light Gaming on Assault. I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, T1W have been looking lost on Assault so far this series and this season, and once again, we're seeing another exhibit of that here.
It's their worst game variant, that's for sure. And well, at the end of the day, if you don't have a certain amount of lockdown for that Doomfist of Night God, well, it's gonna find picks regardless. Any Doomfist is going to be able to find picks if they're competent with that, with the kit of Doomfist. And when you get to see Night God do it, again, the come at me, bro idea, there's no Mija in sight. So if you're not going to go Doom for Doom, well, and there's no McCree, that's what ended up stopping T1W last time on Assault when they were facing LGD last week. Pretty much free to do whatever they want.
Well, LaFon, I'm going to pose this question to you. Was that necessarily Light Gaming stepping up the tempo, or is that T1W just hitting the brakes a little bit too hard?
I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but can I have Micha Zarya instead?
Whoa.
You say that last season, everybody would just be like,
yeah, what?
What did he just say?
Exactly. But no, to answer your question, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think
I'll
it was
take that answer.
a bit of
Yes,
both. A bit of
period.
both. Yeah, a bit of both. Light gaming definitely increased their tempo, their playstyle. It looked a lot more like they were on the same page. It helps that Night God was popping off on the Doomfist, right? When you have a Doomfist that doesn't die, granted, there weren't a ton of stuns to really deal with him, but you know, part of the way you deal with the Doomfist in the 3-3 is that you counter peel him, right? You use your tanks to sort of absorb some of the damage, and then you can kind of use the bubbles or the stuns from the Brig to kind of hold him out, and then you take him down that way. But Night God was just being a real nuisance on the Doomfist, allowed it to stay alive for a lot longer than he probably should have, and that really helped them hold out. And I think for T1W going over to 3-3, kind of a mistake. They looked lost on it in a way that we haven't seen from them since probably before Pacific Showdown, even the playoffs last season. So a really odd showing, I think, from T1W, uncommon in that, and you know, highlight pack coming here, of course, but it's almost sad that we can kind of look at these Molan run highlights, as cool as they are, as good as they are, and be like, yeah, but it didn't matter.
Oh god, these hold hook combos were amazing as well. And I was talking about the tank line, the DPS lineup for Dizzy and Night God looking very good. And these adaptations from this team of Light Gaming, well, in this week, this is what you need if you're Light Gaming. If you want to make any sort of run to make your way into playoffs against T1W, well, this is the look, man. This is what you're going to end up having to do. And like you said as well, although it was a good idea to allow your tanks to stall up or to take so much damage against Night God's Doomfist. Oh, he went for the grab and it just missed. I see.
Yeah, I mean, he missed the grab, but I didn't realize that Roshan had actually gone the opposite direction, right? I thought they were staying on the same page, but Silver 3 made an opposite rotation, just a little bit awkward for him. The one thing actually is the point I made at the break in the map on Paris is that Light Gaming was going in 1-by-1 lane, their front line and back line do separate things, and it was cost them on their attack. Actually ended up being what helped them on the defense, right? Because as we know with Assault, trades almost always favor the defense, and you know, Light Gaming played that out perfectly on Paris.
Hey, especially for Paris too, and like you have such a good spawn advantage as well. And when you allow your tanks to take up all that damage from Night God's Doomfist, well, you're pretty much stacked up anyway trying to deal with the Doomfist. That Unite was just free to come in, finding 4 to 6 man EMPs. That was a great showcasing of Light Gaming as well as they even up the series.
Indeed, 1-1 we go in the maps. It'll be the hybrid when we come back after the halftime break. And, well, not necessarily sure if Light Gaming has cleaned up their act or have they just taken advantage of the mistakes that T1W has presented for them. We'll see if either team can really start to take decisive control of this set. A very pivotal one here in Group B. We'll find out more when we come back. Welcome back to Chinese Contenders. We are halfway through our first set of the day. I'm Alan IHOLDSHIFT Donofrio with Andy Panda Nekrich. I did all of our names this time, so we have
Dr. Panda
across. To you. Shoot, I forgot my formal title. I don't even have one. I
should have put on a tie.
Yeah, and a monocle or something if you're gonna go. It's Dr. Andy Panda Nekrich. Regardless, let's get back to what we're talking about here with the game itself. As Light Gaming were able to somehow muster a point B defense after giving up 2 ticks of progress on Paris with a 6.5-minute time bank for T1W. And as we jump forward to the hybrid, we have a lot of question marks really for both teams. Neither one are really giving us a, hey, T1W, it's okay. I know they had some close sets. They're good now. Maybe not. And Light Gaming, who started the season off hot with a couple of drops in their last couple of games, still have yet to really convince us that they're playoff caliber worthy yet.
I'll start off by asking the questions and the hard questions at that. Where's Mija? Well, we're going to get that answer as a sub comes through. Assassin, sub, wait, I think that's backwards, actually.
That had to have been backwards.
Yeah, it had to have been. I believe that Mija is coming in for Assassin. So I think that they're going to end up taking the bait. They're going to end up taking the wrestling bait. Shout outs to Dwayne Johnson as well. They got the gesture. Come at me, bro. Mija's just like, I am coming for you, Night God. The Doomfist could be coming into play. And for a map of which we are heading for hybrid, Hollywood, well, it's a pretty good Doomfist map. And as well, we get to see that Zarya play. Has been looking a lot better from the previous season of Contenders as well. And that's what you almost expect from a flex damage dealer such as Mija, that if they end up going against their very aggressive style, where you're going to need some flexibility to go along with it. Hy-Vee on the Torbjorn for their defense as well. Molaran flying in the sky with Illusion. Yija on the Hamzah for their defense. A solo tank, Silver 3, Orisa composition. Hold hook combos coming through from Light Gaming on a double sniper variant themselves.
Silver just goes sky high after that Hulk combination. Unai looking for a hook. That wasn't quite there, though. So NightGod just being pesky, wall climbing, and trying to find a little bit of damage into the front line. If he could find an angle onto the far, it would be great. Or I suppose the Torbjorn would be a good target as well, as NightGod has a plethora of opponents to pick from, but not able to find much confirmed damage into any of them yet. Now it's down to the pull from Unite. It's good on Nekrich, who's able to lunge away and actually get himself back behind cover, so he'll stay alive and stay healthy as he catches some pretty clutch healing. Now it's a little bit of Orisa on Orisa as shields and miniguns alike start to go at one another, but neither really finding much success until NightGod finds the first elimination in the form of Hy-Vee, who will be re-res back up, so still 6v6 action. Unite pulling in the silver 3 Orisa. Now the barrage to follow up. Ran looking good on the response, and that'll be enough to find 3 and will likely push Light Gaming back.
I disagree with the usage of the nano boost from B612. It's an ultimate that they're going to wish they had in their pocket. They double down on support ultimates as well. Light Gaming over-investing into a fight where they thought was going to be able to be won. Well, and they didn't get a single tick. T1W did use their nano boost as well, defensively as well as the barrage like you had mentioned, but it's not a good look so far for Light Gaming. We were talking about hitting the gas and maybe hitting it a little bit too hard. You got to make sure that you secure yourself on the point, covering the resurrection. Illusion got away with that one pretty free. Getting a Hall Hook combo can be very difficult against Miji as well. Dragon Strike coming through from NightGod, kills off Wheel. What an angle!
And now all of a sudden he can lunge right back in towards the Torbjorn of Hy-Vee, who is trying to dance around his own turret, but that will get taken down pretty quickly. Illusion will get the res on Miji. Unite in the whole hog, trying to zone everybody away. The Dragon Strike comes out in response, though, and Miji actually finds a pretty big deal of damage, but he's not quite able to finish off anything besides B612.
So low.
3 will try, or pretty much will trade his life away. And Hy-Vee, like you mentioned, very low, will be scouted out by Unite and taken down, and this should surely be Captured A coming through as the Supercharger is fading off in the distance.
Yeah, the Dragon Strike was a fantastic aim from NightGod. It's actually going to have another one. Headshot on Illusion. Pretty much good for it as well. Miji answers back in kind. But that Dragon Strike originally just split up T1W, and they had to find their footing again, where Light Gaming was able to walk right through. Dragon Strike from Miji, a little bit lackluster. Again, being able to heal through was Unite. The point does unlock. Light Gaming, again, hitting the gas very comfortably this time. As we head over to the streets phase of Hollywood. T1W will have their Supercharger. Another barrage as well for T1W will be coming through. But here's the thing for the attackers as well. You unlock the point, you're going to be able to get the high ground control as well, and all hook combos as well. That's devastating.
You know, I'm really looking at this moment in time for Light Gaming to say, Dizzy, this is your time to shine here, brother. You've got no counterpart in the Widow. Your only real responsibility is to make sure you don't get taken down by an arrow from Miji, who, again, we mentioned, has mostly been assimilated and affiliated with his one-trick Doomfist. He has grown in his versatility, but it's still not exactly what you would say top of the line when it comes to Chinese contenders. So if you're Dizzy, you have to pop right here, brother. It's your time, and the Dragon Strike will start things off, but Miji is able to find first blood onto Unite, who will be re-resed right back up. Ran with the barrage, potentially zone some players away as long as he doesn't get hooked down from the skies. And it looks like as the boost comes in for Unite, he actually gets zoned backwards, and a Dragon Strike comes down Main Street for T1W. And all this is very valuable zoning as some more desperate hooks start to come out for Unite's Hy-Vee, who's able to respond with one of his own, and T1W continue to push back Light Gaming.
A little bit of a difference from the pull port combos coming through from T1W and Light Gaming. You can see, again, going back to control, B612 is using their Biotic Grenade to keep the backline alive, where T1W are actually investing Wuya's Biotic Grenade into the Hall Hook combos. That previous one was damage boosted by Illusion. You can see the utility coming through from the support lineup of T1W to guarantee these Hall Hook combos. Dizzy, on the other hand, there you go. Going to be able to get an entry frag, but can't confirm the resurrection. Again, Unite goes down.
And this front line is just not giving up any ground whatsoever from T1W. Nice hook from Hy-Vee to pull B612 down. And again, you mentioned it, you know, it was a lot of conversation around Huey's initially for LTG. You know, not really getting the favor in the Widowmaker battle, and they bring in Dizzy, and I hate to be overcritical, but so far he has not really had too much of an impact, at least not here in Hollywood. Supercharger does get plays for Light Gaming, but immediately met by a barrage as Ran. Again, you would think Widow be far favors the Widow, but Dizzy has not been granted a line of sight ever into Ran, able to find 3 plus the Supercharger with the barrage, and T1W, again, not giving up any ground whatsoever in the second stage.
Getting the barrage out is good, but there's going to be 5 more ultimates that you have to combat against. Light Gaming investing the Supercharger. A couple vanilla fights, Pegasus in the sky. It's a flying horse for Silver 3. And you can see just like the combination, halt into Dragon Strike, halt hook combos. Hy-B and Silver 3 are making a big standing for this tank duo. Silver 3 gets split up, the Dragon Strike gets used for Night God. There was no follow-up.
Light Gaming, what are we doing here? This double sniper is finding nothing. And now finally, you'll see Light Gaming making a swap. Night God will go onto the Genji to throw something different into the mix. Will Dizzy stay on the Widowmaker? He will not. He'll switch back over, this time to a Hanzo. So maybe this form of damage dealers can make some progress happen. The front line, though, for Light Gaming, again, has not been comfortable whatsoever. Yet Unai, again, already down below half HP, has to hit his own personal heal, plus also gets some more from B612. He will be able to get into the whole hog, but the supercharger gets thrown out to try to dissuade any extra progress from Light Gaming, which Unai essentially is forced to focus down as he, again, was also nano boosted during it. He will get pulled, or pardon me, find a pull onto his counterpart of Hy-B, who does now get boosted in response, and this is going to result in Eren for once again free with the barrage for 2. Dragon Strike will zone away the payload, and this is Light Gaming getting torn apart at the seams as overtime will fade away and T1W essentially full hold the second stage.
Oh, the swap again, the Dragon Strike not finding any value, trying to go over to the Super Shimada brothers was not enough time to try to build the ultimates as well, and the high ground control just wasn't there as well for Dizzy, like you were saying, not finding value in the Widowmaker, tried the Hanzo, didn't look particularly great as well, and Light Gaming is going to get stalled out. They did unlock the point, so the win condition is set.
It is, but we got to get a take here, I think, just generally speaking, from lafon as far as what we're seeing here, because let's be real, Light Gaming, we're honestly staying on that double sniper for what felt like an eternity and not really finding much value whatsoever here, lafon.
No, they didn't whatsoever, and I think one of the reasons why is that a small stroke of luck played out to one of the things that's going really well for T1W right now. It's that Molanran has been absolutely fantastic on the Pharah, and they held the payload to a place on second where Pharah is remarkably good. In that first choke point, there's so much vertical cover, and that choke is so difficult for a Widow to get past. Like, you're basically asking Dizzy to have to go for a trick shot just to even have a chance at taking Molanran out of the sky, right? Like, that's so many things that have to go right for him, and it's just so difficult. And obviously, Molanran playing as well as he is today, that's a really tough ask. And I think, you know, so yeah, it is a small stroke of luck to be able to stop the payload there, but credit to T1W for recognizing their opportunity. And look how aggressively Molanran was playing that entire time, right? Playing up super far forward.
Really was.
We saw, yeah, multiple barrages. And yes, the halt hook combos make it a ton easier. No doubt about that. But you know, credit to the Pharah player there, and the recognition from T1W.GZA about their win condition being established.
Brilliantly said for lafon. Thank you so much, my man. We'll catch you after the map for a more further breakdown, but we'll swap the sides for now as T1W will give their offense a go. And again, they just have to get past not just the first stage of capturing the point, but only pushing the payload essentially past those front 2 gates. Light Gaming will come out with, once again, the double sniper setup. And I think at a certain point, you have to start rooting for Light Gaming to start finding a little bit of success in their damage dealing department. Well, that'll do well. Light Gaming say, we can get it done with the frontliners. If you don't want to frag from the DPS line, we'll get it done in the front line as they find a halt hook combination into the Mercy. And that'll do well to start things off for the defensive Light Gaming.
And it's not solo support either, so T1W, they're going to be able to exist on that that side over by the Mega Pack. You can see just Silver 3 going back to make sure that Illusion makes it through comfortably. But Night God again, finding another headshot with the Storm Arrow. Quite the iconic duo so far. Concussive Blast going in, Molanran's looking to get aggressive.
And Molanran's got an angle, but another nice pull coming out from Unai to take down Silver 3. Hy-B as well. Again, like we mentioned, trying to play on something differently. It's going to be a Genji Doomfist combination for T1W plus the Pharah in the sky. And so far, they're not able to find the success they've been looking for. You imagine they probably commit to this for at least a little bit longer to find a Nano Blade before they make any kind of swaps. And okay, Night God. All right, you say, all right, Shift, I hear you. You're calling us out. I'm going to get aggressive and try to find myself a heroic play. And, well, Molanran gets rezzed and says, no more nonsense. And that might just be what they need to get themselves some success here at point A. Awkward little interaction there physically between the front line and Mija, who's able to stay alive. Silver 3 to the rescue. Barrage to clean up everything else. And that'll be enough for capture A to come through.
Night God should have just let them be. I mean, he found the kill. You get the resurrection now. It's going to be offline for 30 seconds. It's very unfortunate. He invested the Dragon Strike as well. Dizzy's onto the McCree, trying to locking down Mija. Again, that's how they got stalled out last week against LGD Gaming. You're going to be trying the same luck. B612 does have the Nano Boost along with 2 tank ultimates and Illusion's Valkyrie. This is going to be their win condition. But T1W, Hy-Vee is very slow to charge his the Dragon Blade, excuse me, as well as the Meteor Strike for Mija.
Yeah.
But having that Minefield is going to be able to separate Light Gaming very well.
And set up just a little bit of control of these doorways. Again, like lafon was mentioning, there was really never a time when Light Gaming felt like they could even break through those double doors. So T1W have some tools that can gain the separation like you mentioned. So for Night God, really on you to lock things down here as Dizzy will once again swap from the Widow to the McCree. It's been his second choice all day so far, and he'll have to make it come into play this time around. Here we go, Silver 3 diving into the backline. It'll be coming into the minefield, but Night God able to find Mija plus Hy-Vee, and all of a sudden that minefield will find absolutely zero value. And just like that, 3 minutes, 40 seconds left to go, and LTG looking really solid on this defense so far.
And Hy-Vee going on par for an AKM Blade here right now, and this is not looking very good. I mean, Woya has been holding on to this nano boosted combo along with it, but you even investigated. I believe that you should just give it over to Mija just for the self-sustain, so that way Mija can live through the tank line of Light Gaming, and they're doing this so well. And this is what we were concerned about, especially from Full Sky Industries last week. They're very stubborn to swap off of the scripted DPS composition, but here we go.
Yeah, that's the entire backline folding apart. Okay, so you waited a long time to get it, but you do find in practice what should have happened probably about a minute and a half ago. But regardless, that'll be the backline falling apart, and T1W will clean up the rest as far as what could potentially contest the payload. And T1W will take map number 3 after only having to go a short distance in the second stage.
Again, Mija coming in, looking very comfortable on that Hanzo for defense, and then we got to see the Doomfist. I was starting to get concerned whether or not they were going to get stalled out with the Nano Blade coming through, but there was obviously no defensive ultimate for Light Gaming to try to combat against that. Right. No shield bash, nothing to try to do it. You were basically relying on a Hull Hook combo or even a Sleep Dart to come through, but was not existent. And like you said, really not that far for the payload to walk into that checkbox of victory. And, well, going up in the series, I think T1W are a little upset that they lost Paris.
I would have to think so. Again, 6.5 minutes was the time bank. It's an eternity, essentially, but let's go ahead and bring back in lafon to see his take as far as how that attack went for T1W. I mean, you don't have much to react on lafon, but as far as what you're able to take away from what you saw, let us know.
They won because they put Light Gaming to sleep with how long it took Hy-Vee to build that blade, I guess. There it is. I don't know, man. I'm the bad guy here, but the thing to note is that wow, that's a rough round from T1W. Hy-Vee, we were talking about. You know what? Let's take the time to mention Hy-Vee because I think he's been really good on the Roadhog in this set so far. I think his tank play has been really good, and I honestly thought that on Sombra wasn't performing too poorly either. It's just that specifically in this round, historically, his Genji has not been fantastic, and yeah, it takes him a very long time to build up to that Dragon Blade. And even though it is what won them out the map, as you said, Shift, probably should have happened a good minute and a half earlier. Yeah. And I think heading into playoffs, because T1W almost certainly, as we said, will make playoffs at this rate. You have to start refining for a 2-2-2 lock. And I just really don't see, we saw 2-2-2 from them on Nepal, but I really don't see them refining those strategies into the later stages. And they're making some questionable choices, I think, in terms of team composition.
Not wrong. I mean, you see the DPS compositions coming through, but is it the right DPS composition? I mean, without Molaron on this Pharah having a field day, it looked very shaky. Very, very shaky. And this is only because, like lafon was saying, is because, well, I think Light Gaming, we were talking about hitting the gas. I think they fell asleep at the wheel there, man. And that's not necessarily what you want. You saw the hard commitment to try to go against the pharmacy combo. Sure, you want to try to stop the resurrection from coming through, but once you can't get that resurrection away and you can't stop it from happening, I mean, Night God, I'm sorry, dude, but you are not in a comfortable place there, and that's ultimately what ended up happening for T1W to continue their assault and completing the point.
I mean, if Light Gaming had a proper setup there, with a high ground contest and make it a lot more difficult for Hy-Vee to dash reset through them, we could be looking at a 2-1 for LTG because that was not a good blade. It really wasn't. If that blade didn't succeed, we're looking at a situation where T1W is heading into another fight with a minute remaining with no resources, none whatsoever. And I think this comes to the point now where you're seeing that McCree come out from Dizzy, and I don't think it's the right play. Again, keep in mind, this is still the patch before live, so McCree has the slower rate of fire, right? Doesn't shoot nearly as fast. Obviously, that change hasn't come through yet. And I think You know, we're seeing from Light Gaming a choice, like the McCree has been something they've consistently chosen, but why not like a Sombra or something a little bit more interactive that it doesn't take so much resources away from the rest of the team? And I feel like Light Gaming are putting themselves in a bad position. The T1W isn't taking advantage of necessarily. It's just that they don't the advantage that they natively have by a better composition just outplays whatever mechanical skill is required.
And maybe just dealing with a little bit of a pigeonhole here as far as Dizzy coming into the lineup more recently, maybe not having that flexibility or comfortability in this roster to play those types of heroes. Again, full of speculation, tag that one, flare that one up. But regardless, we're looking at a 2-1 map total as T1W retakes the lead here in map number 3. It'll be map 4 when we come back. The pure escort. Will T1W be able to close things out and find themselves that much needed win? Or will Light Gaming be able to regain and put themselves in a position to find a map 5? We'll find out when we come back. Welcome back to Chinese Contenders match number 1. We're going to map number 4 as we're dealing with T1W currently up 2-1 in the set. IHOLDSHIFT with Panda. We've got ourselves a battle. We'll just leave it loose and generic because I can't necessarily say it's been a great battle. I can't really say it's been a terrible battle though either, as both of these teams are really kind of vying for that position to secure themselves playoffs, which I believe if T1W were to close this one out, they should at least secure themselves something in the top 4 based on how the standings are looking right now in Group B, of which there's a lot of teams at 2-1 and 1-2 respectively. So for Light Gaming, we mentioned kind of a must-win scenario to keep their playoff hopes at least alive before they head to our final week of games. But so far, they have looked a little bit lost going up against this T1W squad.
Oh, I headed over to Sun and Rialto, and it is summertime. It seems that Light Gaming have summer allergies, and what they're allergic to is high ground. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to adapt towards any of that. T1W on their attack, and see Dizzy, the double sniper composition from Light Gaming on their defense. A big stalwart on their idea, but T1W,
oh my
very
goodness.
Interesting quad tank, and I really like to see this composition. EU rejoice.
I was going to say that was a downtown hook from Unite, but Mullenran says, I'm game for this. Like you mentioned, a heavy front line coming out for the side T1W. Can they put this into actual good practice? Right now, it's just about pushing the objective, because how can you contest against all those big bodies? Nightgod is looking at this saying, I'm getting the damage done, friends, but there's just too many big bodies. And just like that, he is very close to a Dragon Strike, which would serve a pretty hefty purpose in trying to split up those frontliners, which really only find their power from joining together as one.
And I love this pick from Unite. Got eliminated on Roadhog, comes back as Sombra. Lockdown server 3, the hack is already on to them.
And at least Sentry is able to get the res, but immediately gets taken down. And really, where do you go if you're Roshan? The only answer is back to the grave, you would think. Although, again, not a lot of confirmed damage in this composition for T1W. Clutch little particle barrier coming out to save a life, but it's not going to make much of a difference as, again, Roshan is able to survive, put down the supercharger, but the damage is good enough to confirm a full wipe coming out from Light Gaming.
Yeah, you said how to save a life, and now I have the song stuck in my head. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
T1W gonna take swaps over 3, not having a fun time on Wrecking Ball, and why would you against a Sombra who already has an EMP, expecting that one as well. The Hots from Roshan have been very good as well to lockdowns over 3. So gonna get a dive going with High B here on the Winston and Diva. Molarun will have the whole hog as well. Mija coming up on to the Graviton Surge. Gonna look to see if they can find the damage, but Light Gaming on this triple DPS composition, the idea is to play so split that the tanks can't find all the burst damage, but they can run you over if they're on top of 1.
EMP finds 4, Biotic Grenade right into Silver 3 as the second Dragon Strike comes into play. And again, Dizzy, he has nothing but free targets to shoot at, but it just comes down to, do you have the damage as Widowmaker to find any kills? As another Coalescence is popped from Mulia. This is his second of the game so far, and that's good enough to take down Roshan. Sentry is also dropping, not able to get the res off this time. And T1W have the numbers, and this should be the first stage completed as soon as the payload touches, and it likely will here in the near future. Nowhere to go if you're looking at from Light Gaming, and that will be the checkpoint of A coming through for T1W.
I respect the projected barrier from Mija. Wuya is just going, just like, no, Bumblebee, I got this. Goes in for the 1v1 against Dizzy, and Dizzy's just like, you know what? I'm not going to take that. That's not really what this is about right now. The Biotic Grass from Moira, quite the nuisance, whether it's in your comp matches or here in Chinese Contenders. Quite the nuisance indeed. Dizzy's going to swap over to the Hanzo with Nightgod onto the Pharah. Double spam composition. Unite's finding a lot of value, and well, we've seen some questionable Graviton Surges in this matchup. Go ahead and add that one to the list.
That was a blind grab, trying to just lock down anybody on the stairs, and LTG is just looking at that saying, all right, well,
Thanks.
As Night God pops off, finds a lot of damage, and the last player that was left alive was Hybe, and he'll take a swim. And that'll be T1W getting pushed back, but more importantly, Light Gaming is finding a lot of map positioning, and Unai is just trying to farm up a hack as fast as possible, and he's able to get a lot of confirmed damage into the big body of Silver 3.
Here's the thing about T1W is that they're going to have tank ultimates regardless. Obviously, they're not playing any damaged characters, trying to rejoice inside this tank matchup. Hybe having to use the thrusters just to go back and join Silver 3 in the match on the front line. But this Coalesce is going to find a lot of space.
Big fire grenade, though, able to lock things down. Night got able to find one with the barrage. He does get pulled to cancel any extra damage as the sound barrier came through to keep everybody alive for T1W, and it does so relatively successfully. The only player who fell was Mija, and now as the Primal Rage starts to come into play, B612 will find the bad end of some Gorilla Paws there, and it's looking pretty dangerous, I would say, for Light Gaming. Now the EMP comes out, and that's combined with a nice Dragon Strike to split off enough space for Sentry to get a res on the Roshan. So with the frontliner back, Light Gaming definitely have a chance to at least contest this. And it looks like the pressure has been enough to shrug T1W back for a small time.
And this has been the most frustrating thing for T1W. How long are you going to stay on the squad tank composition? I mean, you're seeing Unai, I mean, look, building up, stacking up. Look how fast this EMP is being charged. So much damage is being able to be found and finds an elimination as well.
Coalescence for you, trying to again gain some space. Unai, I believe he just got boosted by B612, and he found a little bit of extra damage with the SMG. And well, again, Light Gaming.
He has another EMP out.
Yeah, I was about to say, with the grant of all these big bodies just farming up Dragon Strikes, EMPs, it's just been an ultimate fest here for Light Gaming.
Yeah, Mija has had more than enough. You know what? I see some DPS on the other team. Might as well do it myself. Dive tanks, hack fists coming through. Oh! Triple DPS, Hybe. I don't know, man. There's not enough time for you to build a Dragon Boy this time around. It's gonna be pretty tough. You have to find a lot of value. Gonna need Silver 3's help as well with this Primal Rage coming in to maybe find some dash resets. But again, Unai has another EMP. This is a minute left on the board. And Light Gaming, they can make this a last fight territory with the ultimates that they have online.
Oh, that'll play super well. Silver 3 pops the aggressive Primal Rage. Hybe comes over the back wall and they pinch. And that'll be good enough to Hybe to find a lot of confirmed damage just from the swift strikes coming through the support line. And T1W, they don't even need the Dragon Blade here as they're making some pretty substantial progress on the way to completing stage 2.
Well, they're just going to be able to get another contestant here. If anyone from T1W is going to be able to get here in time, can they actually touch? Roshan does able to get there. Oh, Mija was he was just waiting in the corner, but Molarun's going to be able to one that finds the elimination on the B612. Trades coming through.
And the EMP only really finds the DPS players of T1W from Light Gaming, so the front line and support line are sitting there saying, all right, well, we'll just stay on the payload and keep ourselves healthy as the damage dealers are able to peel back and then come right back into the fight late. Mija for 2. The Doomfist special, it's a 2-for-1 sale for Mija on the right hand of the Doomfist, and that'll be enough to complete stage 2 and make their way towards completed map.
2-for-1, taking a go on point 3. Mija is going to have a Meteor Strike as well. So long, Pharmacy combo. Molarun also has an EMP, and this is going to be really hard for Night God and Sentry to be flying in the sky, especially for third point. Dizzy swaps over to the Nekrich. Going to see if Night God holds on to this barrage as well. They will. That's basically going to be a free farm for Molarun. The EMPs could be thrown up with the translocator to lock them down. Good haul coming through. The hack as well. What a combo. Mija is able to stay safe.
EMP for 4, not even needed to pop the Dragon Blade yet. They're still waiting for the Nano Boost to come through, and that might just be win condition in this next fight as a full team wipe comes out for T1W. And they have a Meteor Strike as well as a Sound Barrier. A lot of damage, but more importantly, a lot of survivability, and no one's going to even try to contest. Unai tried to get there, but wasn't able to break the stealth in time. So T1W, a little anticlimactically, will finish the map, but we asked if there was going to be value from Hybe on the Genji, and the answer was yes, just not in the way that we thought it would.
And again, the quad tank, love to see it. Great composition. Again, EU players rejoice. Fantastic composition made quite a long time ago, and we get to see the adaptation with Wrecking Ball that time. But you know, it's one thing to stay on a composition for too long. It's another thing to be feeding EMPs to Unai for a solid 2.5, almost 3 minutes. And well, again, what I was very concerned with walking into this matchup here, Alan, was able to come through. Not the frustration from T1W, the assertiveness from trying to find value on a composition, but then going over to a composition that suits them better, which is that triple DPS. They're able to find value against the other DPS of Light Gaming, and, well, it's able to garner them a full, complete run on Rialto, and well, that's exactly what you expect, especially from T1W. And well, you were talking about it during the break as well, is that Group B looking a little bit lackluster comparatively to their Group A counterparts as well, and this is part of the reason as well. Very tough to find value in their compositions, and well, they're trying out so many different things, and until that 2-2-2 roll-lock comes through, you're probably going to see a couple of interesting choices of compositions as well, and the counter pick's able to come through. Again, even though it's light gaming, T1W might be playing with their food a little bit and trying to get a little bit too aggressive. Not against Unai, Roshan, B612. We're talking about veteran players of this region within their own right, and well, they're not going to end up letting you do what you want.
And, you know, I'm going to just ask you briefly as we're about ready to go in and switch our sides. Has this been, you know, in comparison to T1Ws of the past, has this just been T1W trying to find something they're comfortable on, or is it just the sheer meta of the game at the moment just not favoring them at all?
I think at the end of the day, what you're looking at is that light gaming are still trying to find their footing on compositions and inside their own rankings as well. Especially off of that first win in week 1. They're still having a hard time trying to find any sort of composition that works for them, but walking into this double sniper idea and going into 2-2-2 roll lock, I think it's a good look. You can see them really sticking through on this 2-2-2 style, and you can tell it looks very practiced. And against T1W, I think it kind of works.
We'll see how this one progresses. This is a lot of bodies that are low in HP for light gaming, and Mullen in the sky. Well, he gets shut down by B612, pulling out the first Zenyatta of this set, and very close to a Transcendence already, but not able to get it off as Hybe gets boosted. He's able to find the hook as well. He's got the whole hog if he wants it, but doesn't need it at the moment, as T1W will hold this very treacherous corner here on the first part of Rialto.
And have ultimates as well coming online. Off that very long first fight, we're down to 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And you can tell with the fan, it's not just in this game that's getting hot, it's here in real life as well. Light gaming, however, be able to stack up on a couple ultimates. They're going to have the halt combo going in with the Dragon Strike. No whole hog yet, but they will have a Transcendence. Can you react in enough time against the Dragon Strike or against the Barrage? What's the pick going to be used here? The Dragon Strike thrown in here wildly. It's not going to even split up anybody.
And with that supercharger down, Silver 3 gets absolutely melted by the focus fire of light gaming. And as that supercharger starts to fade around the corner, it'll be light gaming looking for a desperate pull, and Unai connects with one more, and Dizzy finds Booyah in the back line. That'll do well for light gaming as they now look to complete stage A with a lot of ultimates still banked up as they head into the early parts of our second stage here.
And again, able to find value. Well, Mulleron, concussive blast. Barrage coming through, Dragon Strike's going to be able to take Mulleron out of the sky, and well, you have to expect that that's going to be a first point capture coming through from light gaming. B612 holding on to that Transcendence as well. The Barrage from Mulleron was a little bit out of place on the other side, did not necessarily need the Transcendence to combat against that. Now staggers and split spawns coming through. And well, this is what I was talking about coming into this map. Light gaming going to be able to get full control of this high ground, what's left of it at the end of the day. And I think... Well, I guess I know for a fact, so long as Dizzy can hold these off angles and they're not playing the same one as Night God, you're going to be able to find value, especially against Mulleron. As long as Mija is called out, you're going to be able to combat against T1W's comp very well, especially having attacker's advantage of controlling the terrain, but giving it up because they have to play around the cart, assessing the situation. It's a smart move from Light Gaming as they have ultimates online as well for both teams.
Roshan, that's a perfect picture of Roshan just saying, man, I'm tired of this set. Let me just get on in here. He doesn't even have another frontliner with him. He just walks on forward. He's able to find Hybe, but it will be traded back. Both resurrections get utilized. The Transcendence also coming through for Light Gaming, but it's not enough to save Unai on what was his second life in this exchange. So a 6v5 starting to take place with no real support ultimates for Light Gaming to deal with outside of the Valkyrie, which is not going to be utilized here. And somehow, some way, T1W do hold on to this, again, treacherous little underpass that's here. And again, B612 has been the only real true counter that Mullen has faced all series so far.
You can tell Dizzy, he's just like, I'm not going to get Solar Barrage, not this time around. B612 is like, don't worry, I got Orbs of Destruction. There's no follow-up damage. And again, B612 has not necessarily been a great Zenyatta throughout the tenure of Chinese Contenders, but definitely making a good showcasing, especially against a strong team like B6 against T1W rather. And well, interesting interaction. Unfortunately, Mija gets pulled down from the high ground. We'll get an arrow into the buttocks and be able to go down. But again, T1W going to be coming up on the pick advantage. well, they didn't have to use a single ultimate, so they're going to be walking into this next fight with a 6-pack of ultimates. Light Gaming taking swaps. Dizzy, I got a little concern there, brother. I'm not going to lie. I saw the Brigitte being hovered and, well, going over to the McCree. You almost need something to directly deal with Molarun as well, like you were mentioning. It has been B612 so far, but you can't rely on your Zenyatta to be doing all that. You need your Zenyatta for shield break, for the spam of the Orbs of Destruction, and, well, Roshan could definitely use the help.
And again, Molarun just avoiding line of sight. Just doing it so well. Waiting for a barrage concussive blast right into the mix. Molarun finds 3, although he does fall to B612. The damage has been dealt, and everybody from Light Gaming gets absolutely decimated from the combination of the barrage plus the nano boost. Still have 4 ultimates left to use for T1W, and they're looking at just 1 minute and 20 to kill off the clock.
Unite gets res there and just probably looks around and he's just like, why me? Why did you bring me back into this world? Investing the Valkyrie as well was Light Gaming, and, well, that's one that you definitely want back. You have to get these ultimates out from T1W. We're down towards a last fight territory again, though the last time I said that, we saw T1W just march their way into 3rd point in complete Rialto, but you have to play a slower pace here. Contrary to popular belief, you can't just go absolutely hamburgers here if you're Light Gaming. You have to bait out Molarun's positioning. You have to wait for Mija to present themselves, and you have to let Night God find that kill. And for Halt Hooks as well, look at the shield break from T1W. Roshan's shield is non-existent.
Transcendence gets popped to respond to the Dragon Strike after the Halt came through, so Light Gaming do push a little bit more forward here. They will counter back with a Dragon Strike of their own, but again, it's Hy-Vee with the whole hog, able to push everybody back. Just a great way to displace everybody from Light Gaming. 26 seconds left. Molarun has another barrage, and you figure he's already smelling blood in the water as he puts himself over the top of the bridge. He will likely just be floating here for some time, waiting for the next contest to come through, and then just absolutely unleash hellfire upon any opponent coming through this underpass. And you can see he's waiting for the information. Will he even get the chance to put the exclamation point on this series? It'll be a desperate swap for Roshan over to the Wrecking Ball, who gets slapped. And it will be Unite able to get himself with the translocator onto the payload. Molarun able to fade back for this, and it will be an overtime, but someone has to stay on the point, and there's really no good contestant to do this in the barrage. That'll close things off. Molarun looking absolutely dirty. This is Molarun's world. We're just happy to live in it as he cleans up the entirety of Light Gaming. One more play from Night God just to try to make things interesting, and he's able to at least deflect the hook, but you figure there's not enough presence to make any real progress on this payload, and that will be the case. T1W able to clean things up and take the 3-1 set and the set victory.
Again, I think they were a little upset coming off of Paris there. They're like, come on, guys, we're better than this, right? Like, we're the ones that went to the Pacific show. Come on, guys. I mean, we were much better. Mija comes in, looks absolutely fantastic as well. But Molarun, shout out to you, Kenobi, as well. I mean, it ain't easy being a gangster like that, but Molarun definitely putting up a good run for the money as well. And, well, that's what you expect to see, especially from a player like Molarun that's been playing in Chinese Contenders for the past few years and able to make a big standing wall as well when you're not being punished for the positioning that you're taking as well, the aggressive positioning, and basically only being combated against by a Zenyatta of B612. Yeah, going to be able to find a lot of value. Dizzy could not go against the Pharah of T1W.
Okay, I want to bring in lafon to this, but I want to close this off and kind of wrap this around one centric package, which is playoffs. T1W with that win should secure themselves at least a top 4 spot in playoffs in Group B, but for Light Gaming, that will put them just outside, I believe, looking in as they go to their 5th week against TSL. So lafon, for both of these teams, pros and cons and kind of expectations as they look to finish off the regular season here in our Season 2 of Chinese Contenders.
T1W needs to work on Assault. Outside of Assault, they were the stronger team. Not just the stronger team, the much stronger team, right? Nepal, there was that 100-0, then there was 100-34, so 2 stages that were not particularly close. Assault, obviously, a 6-minute time bank that got worked away by Light Gaming, but after that, it was all T1W.GZA. And so I think, yeah, Assault, we've talked about this. You guys have mentioned quite a few times. It's that Assault has been T1W's kryptonite, if you will, and heading into playoffs, that's not a good place to be because you can eke out a series off of just being good at Assault, or lose it based on that too. So I think here, for T1W, yes, they're going to make playoffs, but there are some questions to be asked that need to be answered. And I think heading into playoffs with a 2-2-2 lock, one of those questions is Hy-Vee.
Again, couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, able to, I suppose, make up for the long.
Dragon
yeah, I was about to say that was that was going up for par of the AKM blade right there as
Yeah.
well. But, you know, at the end of the day, able to make a big showcasing there on Rialto, able to make themselves look a little bit better with their own Dragon Blade again. And, well, that's what you almost expect, especially, again, I was highlighting about Molaran. Well, you look at all of T1W.GZA.
Yeah.
We highlighted at the beginning of the broadcast. Now, this team has been this team for quite some time, and we expect this from T1W.GZA eventually. But we can't continuously sit here and be like, well, this is the week that they look better. This is the week that they start improving. And now we're finding another nitpick as well into their Assault game variant. I mean, I want to go back and even talk about this too. 6 minutes on the board, finding 2 ticks on the opening fight on point B, and they couldn't complete the point. Now that's
wild.
That's just unacceptable. You can't necessarily have that whether you're an academy team or a very high caliber team like T1W.GZA. And if you want to go to the gauntlet to represent Chinese contenders, well, just do better, Forehead.
I mean, here's the thing too, right? It's not just that it was a 6-minute time bank. It was a 6-minute time bank with advantage. They had the superior pickoffs. And the thing here about T1W, the thing about T1W isn't, it's that their composition, you know, they've got I think today their best players were Silver 3 and Molanran. I think both those players today were absolutely insanely good. But around them, the choices that they're making are, you know, questionable. And I think the other thing too, speaking of Assault specifically, heading into playoffs, we're going to 2-2-2 lock. But more importantly, we're getting a new patch too. We're getting the patch that reduces the amount of time you get an Assault time bank to 3 minutes. And with a 6-minute time bank not being enough, you have to even be concerned even more if you're a T1W fan about how they're going to be able to approach, you know, these Assault maps where, you know, you can live and die by Assault. You know, okay, so if a team steals control from you and then you're bad at Assault, well, then they only have to have a mediocre performance.
Right there.
Yeah, you only have to have a mediocre performance on a third map and, you know, take a series. So I think for T1W, there's some real problems here heading into playoffs that, yes, it was not a competitive series outside of Assault here, but against some of these better teams that you're going to be facing in playoffs here, you're certainly putting yourself in a real disadvantage heading into, ideally for them, Gauntlet.
Yeah, and even just to accentuate that much as well, I want to talk about all 3 DPS, Molaran, Assassin, and Micha. What are going to be the picks coming in? Because we know that double sniper is very prevalent on 222. You saw Light Gaming again. I was talking about in the middle Rialto. It looks very practiced. It looks like it seems to be the composition that they really want to be playing outside of the triple DPS composition to combat against the quad tank. Well, you almost need Assassin in at that point. You need to have that the flexibility over to the Widowmaker in any hit scan role. You can't necessarily expect that from Molaran and Mija. I mean, I'm sure that they play to some extent, but it's not exactly their within their hero pool of caliber. Rather, as you get to take a look at some of the highlight package from that.
The other thing to note too, Panda, is that I was not that impressed with you know, Assassin's hit scan today. I don't think Dizzy was that good at Widow and was rolling Assassin in that 1v1 situation, right? I think Dizzy had a very poor performance. I think Night God was the better DPS on Light Gaming today for sure. And heading into playoffs where, you know, we've got some very fantastic Widowmakers. I mean, Kadalis and LGD would like to have a word with us, right? But you have a real question heading into a meta where snipers are coming back to a real situation that now you're starting to wonder, can T1W be flexible enough, which is a weird thing to say in a more static 2-2 meta, right? We're seeing, you know, in Overwatch League, we're seeing very specific compositions. We're seeing Mei, we're seeing Hanzo, and we're seeing Widowmaker. And after today, you know, I think the Mei and the Hanzo are fine, but the Widowmaker, now that's a real problem, I think, for T1W heading into a playoff situation.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, the other thing, just quickly before we send this to our second set, I just want to hit really fast because we spent a lot of time talking about T1W. Light Gaming with this loss, they are essentially dead even in the standings. Depending on what happens with Lucky Future later on today, as they'll be playing up against, I believe it'll be Billy, which is a tough opponent. But then beyond that, Lucky Future will be going up against LGD. So I think most of us would agree that's probably going to be an 0-2 finish for Lucky Future, which would mean that for Light Gaming, you essentially are in a position, if you beat TSL, you are in playoffs guaranteed. What's the one big thing that Light Gaming has to change to make sure they're able to take down their adversary in TSL?
Allergy medication for high ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna add onto that consistency from their picks. Dizzy comes in obviously as a replacement for who he is, but you know, plays a Widow McCree. Sure. Not a consistent composition. I'd like to see a little bit more flexibility from him, and Light Gaming becomes a very scary roster.
Very well. Well, that'll conclude our first set of the day. We've got 2 more coming up, though, for you guys. Up next, will be Big Time Regal Gaming, as they'll be going up against Phantom Wizard. Should be an interesting one to say the least. And then to finish off the day, like I just previously mentioned, it'll be Billy Gaming going up against Lucky Future. You'll get Kenobi and Rien for that one. That'll be it for myself and Panda. Lafon will be on throughout the rest of the day. Until tomorrow, though, folks, you'll catch me and Panda back for more then. Hope you guys enjoy the set. We'll catch you guys in the chat. Have a good one.